Hello guys, welcome back to our channel Planet for Tech. I hope you all are doing great and learning lots by watching all the continuous episode of this series Python Beginner to Master. So guys, till now we have completed 17 episode of this series and today I am going to describe you new topic class and objects in the episode 18th. So this in this episode 18th I'm going to describe you the way or like how we can create the class and how we can create the object in Python. So and apart from this we are going to discuss one other topic that is frequently being asked in the interview. So that topic is nothing but you can see here method versus function. So first of all, we will see the what is class, what is object, and then after we will discuss on method versus function. What is the basic difference between the method and function? So by objective point of view, both are almost similar, but the way of their defining structure are different and their scope are different. That is why so there are two names, method and function. So we will look these points one by one, but before going to the theory part, let me show you one example. Then only you will be able to easily understand like what this class is and what this method is. So let me show you that by doing practical. So let's start. So guys, here you can see I am going to define one class first, then after I will show you like how we can use that, and we'll discuss on that like what the definition is and what the property and why we use this class there. So sometimes it is called as the blueprint and the constructor of the object also. So these are the different names we call that class particular. So we will see one by one all those names why this is called like that. Now let me show you the how we can create the class here. So going to create one class here. So for that we need to use class keyword. So this is the keyword and we have to give the name of the class. So that name must be in a you can say the camel case title case. The class name should be in a title case. The first letter of every word will be capital letter. So going to write my calculator. So this is my class name. After that we have to give one colon just to specify like from this line the class body is going to be started. So inside the class we can define variable as well as the method. So those variables are called as the properties. So here we can define class properties and we can define class methods. So this point you have to notice here inside the class we can have only two things. One is called as class properties and another is called as class methods. So sometimes this is called as a member function as well. So this is also known as the member functions. And this is called as the member data member data member. So these are the different names we call it. Now let's see like how we can create this variable. So let's suppose I am going to create one variable a equals to 12 and I'm going to create one method here. So to create the method we need def because method is indirectly one function but this is inside the class. So def we are going to have display. So here we have to use print x. So print a. Here we are going to use the print command just to print the value of a here. Now let me show you how we can use this here. So we need to give the parenthesis as well here, but this a we can't access it directly. So what we need to access it because it is showing some error there. So let me show you. So instead of having this way we can pass it. I will show you this in a brief way because we need to use the self keyword there. So that we will cover in a next after few seconds. So for now just see like I'm going to pass on a variable here like a and I'm going to use that here itself like value or you can say result is and we have to print the value here. So this class I have just created, you can see here. So this way guys we have to create the class. So this is the keyword class keyword we have to use. This is the name of the class. So that name of the class must be in a title case. means every word, every character of word must be in capital letter. Now we have seen one class can have the properties and method. So here we have this method. The method name is display here. So this method is taking one argument and printing this output here. Now I'm going to call this method outside this class. So how we can do that? So for that we need to create one object of this class. So here I'm going to create objects. So I will describe you this all terminology, like why it is calling as an object and what is the use of that. But before going to the theory part, just see the practical what we are going to do here. So I'm going to create one object here. So let's suppose that object name is nothing but my object, whatever variable you want, you can give my, or you can say my object like that, and you can use the new keyword. With the help of new keyword, you have to use this class name there. So guys, here we have to. So in other programming language, we basically use this way like we create one object with the help of new keyword. But in Python, this new keyword is not yet required because Python doesn't support this new keyword. So without new keyword also we can create the object like this. So here you can see this class object we have created, and with the help of this object we can call this display method. So going to call it my object dot display. So here we have to pass the value, whatever value you want we can pass it. So you can see here, so this line, at this line we have created the object, and at this line we have just calling the class method. So this class is having one method, that is display. So this class method we are calling with the help of object. So guys, this line you have to make a note, like what is the use of the object. So with the help of the object we can access all the properties and methods of the class. So here you can see this class is having only one method, that is display. So we are going to use this display method with the help this object. So here we are using the object dot and the name of the method, whatever we have to use there. Now let's see its output. So let me show you there. So it is showing one error, guys can say display takes one positional argument but two were given. Why this is showing like that? Let me show you. So here you can see guys, we have to pass one more that self parameter here. Because in the Python this is only available, this is only the point we have to remember in the Python, like all the methods, whatever methods we are going to have in the class will have at least one argument. That one argument is nothing but the self, or you can give another parameter as well. It is not required to make it as a self. So this is the requirement of you can say the class methods inside the Python. So you can see here. So let's suppose you have one method like this. So it is the first arguments. The first arguments values are being provided by the Python itself. We don't need to pass it. So here you can see we have the two arguments, but we don't need to pass the two arguments. We only need to pass the only one argument here, because the first arguments of every method, the first argument of every method passed is going to be passed by the Python class itself. We don't need to pass its value, and all the methods of the uh, class will have the first argument, that will be the self. So the word self is not yet required, but as for the better understanding, I have given this self here. So this is all about this class and objects. Now let me show you this definition, and then after we will understand it more uh, better app way by creating one or two example. So let me show you that. So till now guys we have seen like what is class. So here you can see the definition is a class is like an object constructor. So this line you have to understand guys. Object constructor. Why it is called as object constructor? Constructor means to make something. So class is called as the object constructor. What it means? It means class is going to construct or create object. So due to this behavior, this class is called as the object constructor. It means we are going to construct or create the new object with the help of class. That is why class is known as the object constructor. And you can see here the another name is more popular, that is blueprint. Why it is called the blueprint as well. So here we are going to understand why class is called as the blueprint. So blueprint for creating the objects. So to understand this blueprint word, we have let me show you one example. So let's suppose if there is a one company which is creating which is manufacturing car. So that company will not start manufacturing the car from the day first. What they will do first? So first of all, they will create one demo. You can say the skeleton, or you can see the model of that particular car, and they will decide like what features we have to give, and what will be the functionality, and what will be the attributes, what will be the color, what will be the how many number of seats will be there. So these all first of all they decide. Once these all are decided, then after they will start creating then after they will start manufacturing the car on the basis of the model what they have already defined. So guys, you have to notice here we are saying like first of all they need to define one model. So that model is nothing but the blueprint of the car, what they are going to manufacture later on. So before manufacturing the car, they just created one blueprint. Why blueprint? Because on the basis of the blueprint, they will be able to know like what features those car are going to have once they are manufactured. So here the term you have to understand. Before creating the actual object, before creating the actual object that is car here, we have to create its blueprint. We have to create its model first. Once the model is done, means we are very much sure what features this car is going to have. So on the basis of that, we are sure like we can create one object, means we can create one real car. But that real car is going to have all the features whatever we have already decided in its model. So that model is called as the blueprint of actual car. Now see what is the benefit to make this blueprint. So the benefit is that once you have decided the blueprint, once you have decided the model, so you can create a number of car just using that particular model. Every time you don't need to think like what the properties, what the behavior that car will have. Simply you have to use the existing blueprint or model and you have to create the new version of the car. So this is the same approach what we use in our programming. So in our programming, we are going to create one class. That class is nothing but the blueprint, which is going to have all these three things like identity and the state and the behavior. So those all things we are going to already have in the class. We are going to define the class, all those things in the inside the particular class. So that class is going to be a role of blueprint there, and we are going to create the original object by using that blueprint. Due to this only, this class is known as the blueprint for creating the new object. So I believe this example is sufficient to understand like why the class is called as the blueprint for object. Now let's see the next point. So you can see here what the class will have. The class can have two things. One is called as the properties and another is called as the methods. So these things I have already shown you here in the previous code, you can see. So if we have any variable like this, so this is called, let me make it a1. So this is the properties and this is the method. So a class can have only two things, property and method. So these properties are going to be known as the state of the class, state of the class, and this method is going to be known as behavior of the class. So if if there is a question like what is the behavior of the class, so that behavior depends on the methods. What is the state of the class? So that depends on the properties. So this properties is going to be known as state, and this method is going to be known as behavior. So if you want to understand the behavior of the class, so you have to understand its methods first. So whatever behavior that class is going to have, that we have to define inside the methods. And the state of the class means the properties what we are going to have in the class. So I think these terms are clear right now. So here we are able to understand like what these properties, state, and methods and behavior are. Now you can see here Python is an object-oriented programming language. So almost everything in the Python is an object and with its properties and method, obviously. So what is the object? Now the next question comes in our mind, what is the object? So here you can say the object is nothing but the instance of the class. So what we are going to do, we will create one class. Here you said, you can see here we have created one class. So for this class we have created one instance here in the line number 13. So this object is nothing but the instance of the class. You can say it is the agent. This is the agent of this particular class. Now what this agent can have means what a class object can have. So the class object can have three things. The class object can have three things. The first thing is nothing but its identity. So this line you have to remember guys, because this is mostly asked in the interview from the fresher, like just to understand their level of understanding of oops class and object. So one object can have three things. The first thing is identity. What means? Identity means every object is going to have its own name, its own name, and that name will be unique. So here you can see in our example, so that name is what? My object. So this is the identity of this particular object because its name is what? My object there. So this is the identity you can see in our example. So let me make it in a bracket. Sorry. So there I have my object. So this is what the identity. The second point of class is, sorry, second point of object is state. Every object will have its own state. So what it means state? State means it can access all the properties of class whatever we have defined. So here we can see at the time of understanding class we have seen like state is known as the properties also. So with the help of the object we can access the property of the class, and that property is known as the state of the object. And the last one is behavior. So behavior means what? With the help of the object we can access the method of the class, and that method is responsible to show the behavior of the class. So when we are saying the object's behavior, it simply means what methods that object can call. So behavior is nothing but the methods what can be called with the help of the object. So this is behavior. So this behavior is nothing but the method that can be accessed by the object, and state is nothing but the properties of the method, sorry, of the class that can be accessed by the object. So these three things we have to understand about the. So my belief is that till now we have understood why the class is called as the blueprint or constructor of object, and what this object can have. So one object can have three things only. The first thing is identity, that is its name. State means all those property which can be accessed by the object from the class, and the behavior means those methods what we can access with the help of object. So object can have three things: identity, state, and behavior. But the class can have only two things, that is what? Properties and behavior. So this way guys, we have understood object and classes here. The last point is here method versus function. So what is the difference between method versus function? This is also the questions being asked by few companies. So just let's see the few difference, minor differences are there in the method and function. So let me show you the coding here. So if I am defining the same method if I am defining outside the class, so here you can see if we are defining any method which is outside the class, so here it is known as the function. And if we are defining same function inside the class, so this time it is known as a method. So this is the only difference. The function which is inside the class is called as method, but if it is outside the class, then it is called as function. So this is the major difference. On the basis of this placement, there are few points I have noted here. So let me show you those points here. So these are the points I have noted here. So you can see the functions are created outside the class and the methods are created inside a class. Functions are not linked to anything. This is obviously because functions are outside the class, so they are not linked, but methods are linked. Why? Because they are always created inside the class. That is why it is linked. Functions can be executed just by calling with its name, but object we can't call it directly because method to call the methods we need what? We need the object name. Here in this code you can see here. So to call this display method, we have used the object. So this method we can't call it directly, but we call it with the help of object. So this is what I have mentioned there. Now the next point is function can have zero parameters. It is not required to pass the parameters in a function, but inside the only in the Python methods can't have the zero parameters. Means in the Python it is not possible to have the method with no arguments. At least one argument will be there, that is the self argument. But in other programming language we can have the method with no argument, but in the Python it is not possible because as its structure says, every method of the class will have at least one argument, that is what? The self argument, and its value we don't need to pass at the time of calling because its value is already passed by the class itself. We don't need to pass it. So with the help of this self, we can access the class variables that we will discuss in the next episode. But for now, just understand like we don't need to pass the value of self variable. Now let's see the another difference. Function cannot access or modify the class attributes, but this is because the function is outside the class. But methods can access and can modify the class attributes. One last point, functions are independent of the classes, but methods are dependent on the classes. This is because methods already defined inside the class, so definitely these are dependent on the classes. So this much guys for this episode. So we have well understood like what the class is and what the object is and what is the difference between method and function. We have gone through like the class, the object can have identity, state, and behavior. Identity means the name of the object. State and behavior, state means the properties, and behavior means the method. So this we have understood, and we have understood like how to create the class, how to call the how to create the object of the class. Here we can see we have created the object, and how we can call the method of the class with the help of the object. So this all we have understood in this episode. So in the next episode I am going to describe you that next topic, that is the inheritance, how we can use the inheritance in a Python classes. So for this video this much guys, and the last information line. If you are new to this channel, so don't forget to subscribe the channel. To get the latest notification, you have to press the bell icon here. And if you want to discuss with us something, so we have mentioned there our WhatsApp number here, and we are available in all the social media platforms. So you can simply search there Planet for Tech, and you will find our channel and group there. So there you can ask as well, and you can follow to get the updates from our side. And if you want to watch these all videos in a single place, so we recently launched our Android app. So in the Google Play Store, you can simply search like Planet for Tech. So you will find our app. So from there also you can see all these collections of video in a free of cost. There is no need to pay any single coin, because our purpose is just to make you just you move you from beginner to master. That is why we have created this number of series, beginner to masters. So like this series Python beginner to master, we have other series as well, like PHP beginner to master, Laravel beginner to master. So those all series you can follow, you can find in our channel. So there, from there you can watch the videos. So thank you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you.